In this week's video, we're in Armenia, a country I haven't been to for over 6 years now, as time has flown by. And because it's a small scouting trip and I've got a small vehicle with us, a 4x4, I decided to lighten my load. And in this week's video, we're talking about no geared head, no problems. Okay, so the first thing is of course, if you're not using the geared head, is I'm going to be using ball head. And this is the one that just came with my tripod legs. So these are my usual legs, but just with the normal, the traditional head on top. It's got a spirit level here. So what I've done is I've basically just locked it down firmly, nice and straight, to sort of really get as close to as possible what a geared head would act like in the field, which is pretty much a straight plate. You can lock in an L bracket too. So the next tip would be make sure you've got an L bracket to shoot architecture, because obviously that's going to allow me to keep this nice and straight. So the idea here then is once that's then the L bracket is slid into this position, I can go portrait or landscape orientation without moving like ball head. And that's one of the key things, the first thing I'm going to talk about. So of course, once you've then got your camera and your L bracket in position, you just want to fine-tune the lock position, holding it nice and firm here, just lifting down that ball head. Nice and firm so it doesn't move. I'm going to lock that down and actually take my first shot of the day. It's easy. It's just a simple entrance here in that side forward. Okay, so that's my first shot here in the side forward. Just the entrance basically. A nice and simple start. Okay, let's move on and talk some other tips. I'm now upstairs a level and I'm shooting a staircase. Geared head can really assist you in these kind of positions. The staircase, because it's Soviet, is not exactly symmetrical. I'm like standing in the middle of it and the windows are slightly off. But I'm going to try and do that as close as possible. And I'm also going to shoot at an angle, which is going to look pretty nice. The tips I've got for you next on the actual head itself and shooting with a ball head over a geared head is that if you've got a leveling plate in your system, potentially use it, like put it on here. It would help you get a nice level base ground, particularly if your floor in interiors is uneven, as it probably is in here. There's missing parquet and more. The next thing is I'm only probably going to use this pin here, the rotating pin. Once everything's nice and straight using the spirit level, I can rotate like so, just to fine tune my compositions. Just like that. Now, I'm going to shoot off to the side, and that's going to be much more difficult. So you see here, I've actually switched now to the 17mm lens. Now, of course, that's going to make things much more challenging in terms of angles, lines and more. The next tip I've got for you is actually to activate your grid view in the back of your camera. Put it into grids of 9, so 3 across the top, middle and bottom. And that's going to help really you to compose the image and make sure and further assist you when you're using a ball head in architecture, because actually it's going to give you help when it comes to kind of composing the shot. I'm in quite a tight position here against the wall, and I'm going to be creating a top, middle, bottom pano. And these grid lines are going to help me just with my compositional technique. And of course, if I've got everything locked down nice and straight, that will, in combination with the other stuff, assist me. You just see me lock up a shot here, but it sort of pushes home a bit of a point as well about the grid lines and actually using them, because what you can then do, they can also assist you to kind of check the edges of your frame. You can use these lines to check doorways, frames, and of course here I'm using it to either side of this archway, using the edge of the frame of the camera, the actual LCD, and the combination with the grid lines to be able to lock in a composition. So if you do have to move your position, so I've just put my tripod here in this corner to shoot the staircase side on, and it's not quite level. And I can do things like push the legs together and pull them in and make sure they're either dead straight, and if that does need some adjustments, you could just alter the leg position to level out. What happens if you cannot? What happens if you have to unlock? Well, another thing you could do is just don't loosen off completely, like keep some friction on the levers and the knobs, because it's going to help you to really fine tune things and make the motion smoother. If you undo stuff, of course, you've got a lot more wobble and freedom there. But if you just have a bit of friction, just a little, you've got a little bit easier to control where you are and what you're doing. So I'm basically locked in this position here. I'm going to shoot this staircase side on. I've nailed the composition, a combination of grid lines, friction, level tripod and the right lens has really helped me here to kind of nail this stair shot. I think we're good to move on. Just going to check my images here. Perfect, colours are great. 5 brackets, done. 24mm lens. Probably going to need to crop a little bit the final result, but it's also not a problem. So I'm nearly there, but first of all I've got some more tips for you as well. You can level your tripod legs first, so the ball head only needs small, precise movements. Then angle the camera slightly up and hold the lens with your left hand while tightening the ball head with your right. That stops tiny forward dip that you often get with heavy lenses. And finally, maybe frame a little wider. A ball head gets you close quickly, but that extra space gives you perfect lines when you edit in post. Okay, you might be asking yourself as well what else it is that we did in Armenia so far, and also why I've been so quiet on the channel. Well, firstly,
I've been incredibly busy. I'm now back in Turkey after an extended break away on multiple workshops. I'm going to bring you up to speed in the next coming weeks, but actually here's some images that I took on the lead up to this video in Armenia. If you want to support this channel, you can do so by purchasing one of the books listed in the description below.
Okay, so that's everything from me this week. Some real quick tips on using a ball head for interior and architecture photography. I hope you found those useful. If you've got any other suggestions, write them down in the comment section below and I'll come back to you. And of course, you're helping the community by doing so. We are building a bit of a community here, and actually it's really nice to get some feedback on terms of most of you probably are using a ball head to shoot this kind of work, because you're probably not doing it full time. Now for me, of course, I'm usually using the geared head, and I do recommend that mostly, and I've got videos on the channel about using those. In particular, I've got a whole tripod video that I've recommended a few times lately, linked above and in the description below. Until next time, from here in Armenia, I'll see you all very, very soon.